These two colors are so similar to each other. But hey everyone, welcome to the year in review. Is the music at an okay level? It's super quiet for me, but you want to be able to hear me. No, I was muted on purpose. I was just trying to figure this out. I feel like this gotta be red. I wish there was more color option. These two colors are so similar to each other. I like the color purple, but we'll put okay. Because I feel like it starts getting to like warning levels. Alright, I think that's probably good. Alright, so yeah, I realized this would be awkward to just have silence the whole time while I was doing this, so I just have music playing background. But okay, I actually did this one year, the year before the 12 Days of Xmas. I did something similar to this, but instead of going over every single game I played, I just picked like my standout games of that year. I think that was 2020, if anyone remembers that. And Fury was at the top of my list that year. Shadows of the Colossus was up there. But hey Blaze, and Fack, and Joe, welcome. Alright. So, we do have a lot of games to go through. Oh, by the way, super special thanks to Fack for putting this together. I should put that in the description as well. Fack is the one who put this list together. He saved me a lot of time. And he had to like find every single image. Like he actually helped a lot with this. Yo, Kiko's here. Booger! I need to do Booger Man just for Kiko's sake. Cause Kiko, well, as for a lot of you don't know this, Kiko was only allowed to play Booger Man as a child. His parents told him, because that was the first video game he ever picked out, was Booger Man by chance, and they said, okay, you can't get another game until you finish that one, buddy. And so Kiko, to this day, he never finished it, and so he just, all he could play was Booger Man forever. And some of these songs are going to be a little louder than others, I just realized. Just let me know if the music gets too loud, and then I can turn it down further. Anyway, we have a lot of games to get through. Excuse me. Man, this cough is never gonna go away. I actually don't cough anymore usually now. It's just when I start talking a lot I cough. So it's usually just when I'm streaming you always hear me cough. But anyway, I don't know how long this is gonna take, so we should probably get started. This could be a short stream, it could be a longer one, I don't know yet. So I guess we're just gonna do this alphabetically, so let's go ahead and start with Fear. Fear was it was an FPS game. I'm gonna go ahead and say right off the bat, I'm not generally as into FPS games. That's just kind of my personal thing. I tend to not be as much. This one had some interesting elements to it with the like psychological horror ghost stuff. Is it my favorite FPS game that's like that? The only other one at the top of my head that I could think of that's sort of similar is Geist for GameCube. I think that Geist actually has a more interesting premise, but Fear is a more solid game. So if I was gonna rank Geist, I would have to probably put it down here. But I think Fear's a little better than that in terms of like it's a more solid game. So I'm gonna put that here. But I don't want people to feel bad because I'm ranking games that they really like in places that maybe I don't like as much. This is just completely my own personal enjoyment of each game. And I want to hear people give their opinions about games that I'm rating as well. I want to hear you say, this is what I think, and this is why I really liked this game, or this is why I really disliked a game that you... maybe I liked a game that you hated or something, or you know. Fex said, it's funny you mentioned that because Fear 3 actually has a possession mechanic. Really? Joe said your Geist video is what made me discover your channel. Oh, that's interesting. Had you played Geist before, or were you just interested in the game? I think Geist is super interesting, it just kind of falls apart, unfortunately. I would have to watch my own review to remind myself of all the reasons. I think that was also the video that I gave away a copy of Killer 7 and only 2 people entered into it. So that's fair. If anyone has anything to say about this game, go ahead, state your opinions. Otherwise, we're gonna go ahead and move on. That's cool that you found my video first of all. That's really surprising, actually. I would have thought a lot of other people would have popped up before me. Okay, so moving on, we have Batman Arkham Asylum. I really enjoyed this game. I don't think I exactly had all the mechanics mastered down. There was maybe the occasional room where I had trouble because I just was not great at using the more secretive, not secretive, what's the word, espionage approach, where you're like being sneaky. But that didn't happen too often. I really liked the game, and it probably would just go here, but because it's Batman and I do like Batman a lot, I would have to push Batman up to here, because I am really into Batman. I like Batman a lot. I know if you know Batman a lot, you get a lot out of this game because they do a good job using the characters and going into like their all these little details of like them being interviewed by the psychologist, the prison psychologist and stuff. So this would go all the way up here. This was actually a game that I really... And rip Kevin Conroy, yes. Holy crap. And I played this like shortly before he died, I think, because I did the retro, the Super Nintendo and Genesis Batman games after he died, so I didn't even think about that. So yeah, definitely rest in peace Kevin Conroy, one of the greats. He was Batman. He was the voice of Batman, like, undeniably. I played Condemned last year, so that's not going to pop up on this list, unfortunately. Because I did a review last year, remember, for last Halloween? No, last Christmas. Alright, so, moving on. Kirby. What's this called again? It's Mech something. Mech. I don't remember. We know that I have kind of a mixed relationship with Kirby. I feel like I don't love Kirby games as much as maybe a lot of other people do. There's just something about Kirby. It might just be that I didn't grow up with it enough, that I didn't become accustomed to the way it plays, because Kirby just feels so unnatural as someone who's very used to a lot of other 2D platformers. There's some elements to Kirby that can get annoying too, where you have to like go out of your way to do this really ridiculous stuff to get the actual ending of the game. But there are stuff about Kirby I do like a lot. I like the creative elements, like the different powers that you can get. The games where you can mix powers up is pretty fun. The different enemies, the bosses tend to be pretty fun. And I actually think Robobot was one of the Kirby games I actually did like more. So I think I would actually put that there. Because it was Robobot, Epic Yarn, Kirby, the first Kirby game, and then I want to say Kirby 3. I think those were like up there as like some of my favorite. And a lot of the other Kirby games, I kind of hit some sore points at certain times. But none of them are bad. I think they're all good games. It's just they don't click with me as much as I liked the Rumble Blast sub-game as well. Was that one of the games in that Kirby collection? To Google that, I don't remember that. Rumble. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think there was something about that where they simplified the yeah, that was a fun mode. So, I mean, that was a... When it comes to Kirby games, which I tend to not like as much, I did actually like that one. Good deal. Once again, this is a personal preference. This is not like, oh, this is how the games are. I'm not saying what scores I think these games should subjectively have, or objectively, or whatever. It's just my personal enjoyment of what I got out of it. Alright, so Avengers. This game... It has the Avengers in it. It also... I don't know, it wasn't that fun. Like, I feel like it would just go here, like, instinctually. It wasn't really my thing. Like, it was just kind of, it was okay. Maybe with friends it's a little more fun. Yeah, I could see this being a game, actually. You could play with friends. Doc said, I beat the game and can't tell you what happened. MODOK, right. Funny that MODOK was the ultimate villain. But you know what's gonna push this game down further? All the problems I had with it. I remember I tried to boot it up. It took me... I was all the way into the game before it told me I had to update something. We tried to get the Spider-Man mode to work, which came exclusive with the PS4 version, which I have. We couldn't get into that for no apparent reason. There was just some glitch where it was like, oh, you're not connected to something. So that's gonna push it down to here. I'm just gonna straight up... I didn't hate this. But it just was okay, but also not really my thing, but then it had those problems, so it's pushing it down to here for me. The equip best loot button. Yeah, that was useful. This is a good song. This is a 25th Ward Silver Case song. I don't usually get to hear my playlist playing because I'm gone doing Walter time. Alright, so next we have... Oh, the Super Nintendo Batman game. Trying to remember. Games that I did in one night I feel like are a little harder too. This one was very mediocre until it was bad. Like, there was elements of it where it could have been better. So I'm gonna put this here. I just remember being very mediocre, and then sometimes it was actually just annoying at times. So that's gonna come down here with Avengers. I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna do like a this thing where like, oh, closer to the left is like a slightly better. We'll see. We'll see about that. I doubt anyone has much to say about this except rip Evan Conroy again. Okay, Tiny Toons Bust Your Bust Loose. This was a childhood game of mine, one of the first games I ever played, one of the first games one of my earliest memories. And I've said this before, but not just earliest game memories. No, one of my earliest memories, like walking or eating a cookie for the first time, playing Bust Your Bust Loose. Like that's next to those other things because that's how little I was when I played it. I remembered it being a really fun game when I was a kid. I came back to it as I'm older. Still a really fun game. Really, really fun game. Is it my favorite Super Nintendo game? No, probably not. And it's pretty short. I think I beat it in like an hour and change, maybe an hour and a half. But it's a really solid game. It's really fun. You got a lot of levels that have variety to them. If someone tells me they remember walking for the first time, that's scary. I don't have a ton of childhood memories. I feel like I have a bunch of blank spots, probably because I spent too much damn time playing video games and watching VHS tapes. But I do have this one of my earliest memories is I was like walking, and I just remember I couldn't walk stably yet. And I walked, and I was in the backyard, and I saw a soft looking plant, and it was actually a cactus, and I touched the cactus, and then I just remember that. Like I think the reason why that's such an early memory is because it was probably the first time I felt pain that badly. Because I have that. It's not even a memory anymore. It's like a memory of a memory. You know what I'm talking about? Like you remember having a memory, and now it's just kind of like a remembrance of that memory you had. We're getting kind of deep here. Let's move on to Castle Crashers. So Castle Crashers, the Behemoth game, Tom Fulp, Dan Paladin, really fun stuff. This is one of those games where if you're playing by yourself, maybe not quite as fun, but if you have someone playing with you, which luckily I did because Duskus was cool enough to join me with that, and help me out. This is just a fun stuff. I mean, I grew up on Newgrounds, which there's positives and negatives to that. They definitely, you shouldn't be going to certain websites when you're too young. Certain parts of websites too, but there's a lot of good things about that website, and this is one of the examples of it. Really fun game, really cool, colorful graphics, animation, very crude humor. Like you have the jet skiing, pooping deer, like just exploding down the forest, and all these forest animals. You get a lot of like fun references to like old internet Flash cartoons. It's not my favorite type of game, so I don't think I could put it like up high. But I gotta at least say that I enjoyed it a good deal. Because it's a really, like, for this type of game, it was really fun. And there's just something special about like seeing a Flash cartoon become a real game. It's just, I don't know. Not that this was like a Flash cartoon series, but like people who made Flash cartoons and Flash games making actual games. I think that's awesome. Fact said, I have so many early memories of sitting next to or in my dad's lap while he was playing games. Hard to remember exactly what games, probably Do X. Oh, that's cool. That's cool that you have like gamer bloodline. My parents were kind of a bit more casual when it came to that. They had video games, that's why I was able to play them when I was little. Probably on like due to my dad's side of things. But I definitely spent more time playing video games by myself usually. I I would like want people to play games with me a lot. My family was a little more musically inclined, I think, than video games, but I had no idea so much of Castle Crashers with Newground references before watching you and Duskis talk about it. Just thought it was mid-2000s, also random humor. Yeah, I mean, it's a little of both, because I mean, that is just a lot of that internet humor came from... Newgrounds, like, spawned so much stuff. Like I said, some good, some bad. And a lot of, like, animators and artists and stuff branched off and ended up, like, going to YouTube and stuff. But yeah, that was... They're like the root of a lot of internet stuff. Alright, so... This might make you feel a bit better, Joe. Not to crap on anything, but... So, Chicory... I think Chicory is a wonderful concept. I think the story is really nice. I think the gameplay... The way the gameplay works is really cool. I think it's charming. If I recall correctly, this game does get praised a lot. I know my friend Dragnix reviewed it very highly. For me personally, I think I'm putting it in this here. Because that's just me personally. That's what I got out of it. I thought it was okay for me. It is what it is, you know. Everyone has their different, you know, reactions from things. Yeah. The boss fights were pretty fun, though. Except when I didn't know what was going on. And I definitely did enjoy some of the dialogue exchanges. I'm almost tempted to bring Kirby down here. Because I don't know that I liked Robobot more than I liked Chicory. The soundtrack was really good too, that's true. That's true. I always have trouble like commenting on every aspect of the game. My brain doesn't think to mention all of it. But yeah, I mean that's it. Chicory I think is a really charming, fun game, but that's just personally for me what happened. Hopefully Dragnix and Sword don't show up because they'll probably chastise me for this. Okay. Uh-oh. Mega Man X Command Mission. I'm just gonna like straight off the bat. This wasn't really my thing. I like Mega Man a lot. Could have used more colors, 6 out of 10. I don't think I'm that big of a turn-based RPG person. I really like the idea of it. Maybe when I was younger, if I got into those more when I was younger, I might have been more into like the grindy aspects of them. It might also be the fact that I stream 99% of the games I play nowadays. That I always kind of feel like if I'm spending a lot of time doing grindy stuff or things that feel grindy, I can feel like I'm wasting a little time. But you know what? I don't think that the command mission was bad. I can't really think of any flaws off the top of my head. It's just that it's a grindy turn-based RPG. That's really it. Which is not my kind of thing. But I don't think it was a bad game. But we did summon Banana Slamma for that. It has a laser scarf. I don't even remember that, honestly. So yeah, I don't think I could rank that any lower. I feel kind of good that so far the only 2 games that I've ranked this low are ones that people didn't request. But I don't know if it's gonna keep. We're gonna keep going in that direction. Let's see what happens. Oh, Daemon X Machina. This would go into wasn't really my thing. It's gonna get pushed down because I remember this one boss fight being miserable and I could not figure out, and I googled it after, and people were literally like, what's wrong with this boss? Like, people were complaining. It wasn't just me. Apparently that boss is a huge problem, and that pushes that down to here just because of that, because I don't know what else the game would have went. You already know where your next suggestion is going. By the way, Banana, if you don't have it set to live chat, you may be missing comments from people who may be mentioning Reservoir Dogs guy. That's the thing, Banana. What you say is running through it casually was still grindy to me, because that's just, like I said, I don't have RPG turn-based brain. So people who are used to that, I think it's fine. But for me, it feels like more like work, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, Daemon X Machina, I should probably talk about a little more. I thought the combat was okay. You're introduced to so many characters. It's like they're throwing all these archetypes at the wall. I should probably lower my voice, or I'm going to start losing my voice by the end of this. I just realized I'm gonna start talking a little more calmly. They want you to throw everything at they throw everything at the wall. Every character archetype possible. Here's the emo character, here's the cheerful character, here's the dark stoic character, here's the bad boy character, here's the royal character. They just throw everything at the wall. And I don't remember any of them because of it. I literally can't remember one character from Daemon X Machina, and they introduced like 20 to me because it was all like, I'm sorry, Gobblemeister. I was getting a little out of hand there. It was like that scene in Better Call Saul where Chuck's like, you have to stop him. Like, I started to lose control. No one will ever see me the same again. The murder twins and the AI, right? Okay, let's move on from that. I don't have anything else really to say about Daemon X Machina. It wasn't my thing. Oh, Demon's Crest. Demon's Crest was pretty fun. I think there was like, this was like a cool like gem of a Super Nintendo game that I had never played. I always heard a lot of people talking about it, but I never got to try it until this year. I would say I enjoyed this a good deal. There was a couple annoying parts where I think you needed a certain item to like beat a certain boss or something, and then you have to like know to go find it. And I think someone told me where to go find it, or we looked it up or something, and it would have really, if we didn't do that, sometimes like a game's experience could really be improved if you just kind of suck it up and use a guide or have someone tell you something, which we do sometimes. Because, you know, I don't want to... I try my best to do things without a guide as much as I can, but sometimes, for the sake of everyone's sanity, it's better to look it up. Daemon X Machina, A Ghost of a Shell Story, 4 out of 10. Are those your actual scores, Fac, or are you just being facetious? Downwell. I'm really conflicted with Downwell. Downwell is one of those games that I should love, but there's just something about it where I could not get the hang of it. And if it just clicked with me a little better, I think it would have been enjoyed a good deal. But I think I have to drop it down to it was okay, just for some reason I could not get the hang of it. But it's funny because like the last area, that's where I was like, I felt like the most in sync, but it was getting back to the last area that I kept having trouble doing again, so I don't know. I feel like I need to drop it to It Was Okay. Drill Dozer. Drill Dozer is a fun, unique concept. The story is charming. The characters are fun. Colorful. I love that GBA aesthetic. I need to play more GBA games. The gameplay got better over time. It did. I think it starts off like, oh, this is gonna get monotonous really quickly. And then I think as you keep playing, I don't know if it's because they're adding more elements or you're getting more used to it, but it does feel like it does feel like it would I don't know, it feels like it's getting better. Unfortunately we couldn't experience the rumble, which would have pushed the score up. I'm so conflicted. This is another game where I feel like I think I need to make a new tier. I need to make a tier that goes in the middle. Because I keep getting kind of like in between these two. So what's in between Thought It Was Okay and Enjoyed a Good Deal? If someone thinks of a good title for that, we're gonna make a new tier and I'm gonna move a couple of things around, I think. And we might need another tier anyways, because look how fast we're filling this up already, and we have a lot of games to go. Let's see, what's between I Thought It Was Okay and Enjoyed a Good Deal? Pretty good? I forgot that I had this song on my... I wanna know the secrets that the crystal holds and all the magic power that it brings. I'm the big kahuna. I should know what's going on. Inka Dinka, tell me everything. Oh my god, I'm just gonna sing to this. I can't play this right now. Give up everything. What the does that mean? Okay, I have to change it. That was a song from the cursed Donkey Kong CGI cartoon. And that was a thing I also had, another childhood memory, first memory, I had it on VHS and I used to watch it all the time. Dude, what? So I was over at Mike's house one day and we would just stay up super late and just like play games and watch stupid stuff on YouTube or whatever. And I was like, dude, have you ever seen the Donkey Kong cartoon? And he was like, no. And so I'm like, oh, it's so bad, it's so dumb, you have to watch it. So we were watching an episode just to like laugh at it, like how dumb it is. And then we kept watching it. And then after all, I was like, I don't think we're watching this as a joke anymore. I think we're just watching it. Yeah, it's one of those things. Anyway, I got distracted. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, a new tier. Pretty alright, pretty good. Yeah, let's do pretty good. I think pretty good is a good, pretty game. Let's say pretty game. Okay. Now my color scheme is all... Wait, what? Why did that become pretty game? Okay. That's not right. What was that before? Oh god, I forgot what I called that. Enjoyed a Good Deal, okay. Enjoyed a goof. There we go. A lime green. All right, where was I? Oh yeah, so now that I'm gonna move some stuff around, because I felt bad saying that I liked Kirby more than Chicory. I also think Drill Dozer. There's just some of the boss fights were pretty neat. I feel like I need to put Drill Dozer up a little. I didn't love it, but it's at least on the same tier as these two. Okay. All right. Fear, I don't think is higher for me personally. Okay, oh god, Flower, Sun, and Rain. Oh man. Okay, so obviously I have a bias because this is a Suda game. But it's not like it's a Suda game, so I'm gonna automatically love it. But I like Suda's brain just like massages my brain in the right places, so that I just really tend to enjoy a lot of stuff that he's a part of. How would you say Drill Dozer compares to Game Freak's efforts this year of our Luigi 2022? Oh, much better. Oh, they should just make more Drill Dozer games instead of Pokemon. This is gonna feel like cheating because I actually started Flower, Sun, and Rain, I think like last year, but the more I play Flower, Sun, and Rain, the more I realize I do like it a lot, even though there's some stupid. It's just you're constantly rewarded with these like these unexpected moments when you least expect them, but they just happen consistently enough that it's like you want to keep playing. And the only reason I don't keep streaming it is because it is a bit of a longer game, and nobody ever shows up for it when I do stream it. If I had Flower, Sun, and Rain on Switch, I would have played it already. But I have to put this up here because it really is. I've really been enjoying Flower, Sun, and Rain. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm apologizing, but I just feel like I'm cheating that that's the first game to go up there. No, I did say pretty game. I don't know why. If I told you if they stopped making Pokemon games, I'm gonna set myself on fire in a crowded room. Would I want more Drill Dozer games then? I'd have to think on it. I'd have to decide what, if the payoff is worth it. Yeah, as not to confuse people, I'll just say pretty good. Ghosts and Goblins. I have a... I've talked about this before, that I have a vendetta against Ghosts and Goblins, which is unfortunate because I love Super Ghouls and Ghosts. In fact, you know what? Before I even put that up there, let's just go ahead and throw Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Super Ghouls and Ghosts, I mean, it's definitely at least here. Is it favorite? It is one of my favorites. You know what? Yeah. Oh, that's not Super Ghouls and Ghosts. That's the remake, isn't it? Uh-oh. There it is. I think you used a weird DS version, but that's fine. That's why I didn't recognize it probably. Super Ghouls and Ghosts is going up here. Super Ghouls and Ghosts is one of my favorite Super Nintendo games. It's just really fun. Like, it is the Ghost and Goblins formula done like the best they've ever done it, in my opinion. Ghost and Goblins, the NES version, like Fax said, I don't know if the arcade version might be better. The NES version is just unstable. It's glitchy. It's got a lot of problems. I should like it, but I don't, because it has problems. I don't think I It's not my most hated game ever. When when I was younger, I actually used to hate it more. Because I just remember being up all night one night, just like trying to like get to the end of it and just being like, this is miserable. Why am I putting myself through this? We did get through this using save states. I don't think I really did it in the most cheating way. I feel like I tried to be sparing, but just to like save time from having to redo certain parts. I didn't cheese it, you know, I was just like, okay, let's not have to restart over and over again. I'll put this down here. I don't want to play this ever again. I don't think I have a reason to play Ghosts and Goblins ever again. How fun! Look at the dichotomy here of Super Ghouls and Ghosts on the top and Ghosts and Goblins on the bottom. Oyster-shaped gun to your head. Would you play it again? Oyster-shaped. Would I rather eat a raw oyster or play Ghosts and Goblins again? That's a tough question. Anyway, so that brings us to the remake that came out. Was it this year or last year? I think last year. This was a pretty fun game. There was some annoying parts of this as well, but I was a little conflicted with the skill tree stuff. I think at first I wasn't very big on that, and it was just kind of weird. Like, why does Ghosts and Goblins have a skill tree? The skill tree ends up being very important. There's certain areas of the game that become much more manageable depending on what you have. This is just a completely different animal here. The base gameplay is Ghosts and Goblins, but all the mechanics surrounding it have been changed a lot. It's like you can work towards this ability for this area. There's like different branching paths you can take. The true ending, getting the true ending in this one, which I might do eventually, is a much better. Instead of just playing through the whole game again with a crappy weapon, you get to play through remixes of the same levels, which are different, and they're like structured differently, and they look different, and that is actually pretty good. That they do that. Some of the bosses were a huge pain in the ass. Like, I remember maybe one in particular, maybe I just remember the dragon. Just like, holy crap, that boss fight. But guess what? They let you restart the boss fight over and over and over again. You don't have to restart. You don't have to redo the same level you've already beat over and over again just to get back to it. And for that sake, I was gonna put pretty good. I'm gonna put this up to I enjoyed a good deal. I did. I think by the end of this, it went from like here to here to here. I think I actually appreciated the game more by the end of it. Once I started to like understand how the game worked and the branching paths and going to different areas to get more currency, to get more upgrades, and accepting that that's just how this game works, I would say I enjoyed it a good deal. Once again, I need to drop my voice or else I'm going to lose it by the end of this. We have a lot more to go. Let's try to go a little faster too. I think I'm going too slow. Hyperlight Drifter. I like this one a good deal as well. Yeah, this was a really cool game. It had a unique art style. It had a really intriguing world. It was simple. It was short. It had a minimalist gameplay, but still challenging, avoiding stuff. I wasn't the best at it, but it was really fun. Like the most I could like dink it is like sometimes I wasn't sure where I was supposed to go, but I think that was just more in me being bad at navigating. It has a dog, it has a shotgun, it has a sword more than you need. I think I would put it, I enjoyed it a good deal. I thought Hyperlight Drifter... I feel like if you watch my stream, it may appear as though I didn't like it this much. But I think that was just me being bad at the game. I think I do. I do appreciate it. I would put it. Yeah. Sometimes maybe I wasn't sure like what I wanted to upgrade, but who cares? It's fine. It doesn't matter what you upgrade, really. You could still beat it. Okay, here's another Joe game. I think I feel bad because I think I do need to put this to this wasn't really my thing. And please, please, Joe, please don't feel bad if a lot of your games are kind of going on the bottom half of the tier. You should be proud that you're making me play games that I would probably never have played otherwise. Because that's a good thing that I'm experiencing games that I wouldn't have chosen to play myself. I'm trying to Gobble said I liked Agent Under Fire a lot as a kid, never finished it though. I think I enjoyed Agent Under Fire a decent degree, but as the game went on, there was a lot of stuff that just didn't make sense. Like, I still can't tell you if there's a live system or not. Because it seems like once in a while, I would just get kicked out of a mission and there was no warning that like, oh, I guess I was on my last try there. It was a one-stream game, that's true. That's true, it wasn't super long at least. I just feel like it was one of those games that I had to like push myself through because I wanted to finish it, but I wasn't really having fun by the end of it. And it was just really confusing at points. Maybe I would have enjoyed it more if I had split the game up to a couple parts. I may have also had... Joe, I think unfortunately you had to miss a lot of the stream because you had work or something, and maybe if I had someone there to help direct me, there were certain parts of the game where I just had no idea what I was supposed to do or where to go, and I wasted a lot of time like trying to figure it out. So that was just my personal experience with it. Yeah, there was just a lot of weird uncertainty with it, I feel like. Sorry. Hey, this is a big one. iSomnium. This might have been the game that I had the most streams of the whole year. Because I committed to finishing it before I realized how long it was going to take. And I was also renting it. This is a game that I know Sword really enjoyed. I think Fac really enjoyed it as well. I think it has a popular fan base, at least enough that they made a sequel. I enjoyed elements of it. Personally, for me, I feel like it goes into the okay just because it was just like... I feel like they could have told the same story in maybe half the time. For me. Maybe in a different situation I could appreciate this more. If I had decided I wanted to play this game before like a 12-hour flight, maybe I would have thought this was great. It wasn't one of those things where I really needed to see what was going to happen next. Like that there was enough really exciting things for me that it like was like, whoa, like, okay. There was fun stuff about it. It's an expansion to the memory remix segments from Remember Me, which is something I always wanted. I thought Dante was a likable character, though he was kind of a creep sometimes. I think that was one of my problems, is that they try to paint it that Dante's kind of a pervert. No, that's fine. You could have perverted characters. That's totally fine. But everyone in the game makes perverted jokes. Everyone does. So it kind of lessens the impact of, oh, okay, Dante's kind of a dummy perv. When everyone in the game is making, like, perverted jokes. At that point, it's like, well, that's just this world, apparently. even the mob boss guy, who seemed at first he seemed to have this innocence to him, which I appreciated, because like, oh, the mob boss guy is like the only innocent character, and then later in the game he's like, can I touch someone's boobs or something? Like, I'm like, oh, they had to do it to him too. That kind of bugged me. I'm not a prude, obviously, if I'm into like Suda stuff, but sometimes it's like it's like that Incredibles quote, if everyone's super then no one will be, and it's like I feel like they leaned a little too heavy into that with the amount of characters. But there was likable aspects of the characters and there was entertaining stuff. It was just, for me, it became a lot of filler for me, for where I would have enjoyed the game if it wasn't quite as expansive as it was. Angry Video Game Nerd 1 and 2 Deluxe. I actually had a lot of fun with these. They were very short experiences, but that's not a bad thing for me. For some people that may not make them as valuable as they could be, but the 1 and 2 collection, at least it is the 2 games in one, which ups that gameplay length a bit. It wasn't like groundbreaking in any of like the elements it introduced as like a 2D game, but I had a lot of fun with it, and it was balanced in such a way that it was challenging, but it wasn't too much of a pain. And the death punishments, I feel like I have to put this in the enjoyed a good deal category. It probably helps that I've been really into AVGN since I was quite young. But yeah, no, I mean, it just straight up was a fun game. It was a really fun retro style 2D platformer shooter thing. Pewter isn't too horny if you ignore all the erotica he has stashed in his life. See, that's the thing, fact. They couldn't help themselves. Pewter's like another character where they're like, okay, well, he's not doing the horny stuff. And then he has the stash in his locker just because. Which it's like, okay, this would have been like a funny reveal if every other character, once again, wasn't so horny already. It's like, okay, alright. It's not a big deal. I want to clarify. It's not like it was game ruining. It's just one of those nitpicky things that I get, where it's like, come on now, guys. Bayonetta 2. If we're gonna do Bayonetta 2, I feel like I should do Bayonetta 1 first. Where is Bayonetta 1? Did I not do Bayonetta 1 this year? Did I do Bayonetta and then there was a big enough gap in between? I did Bayonetta 2 the year between. At least with Peter, it's a fun hint to him dating Renju. Okay, so we didn't play Bayonetta 1 this year. Alright. Well, let's say I was rating Bayonetta 1 right now. I would probably put that in enjoyed a good deal. Because out of all the, I think FAQ calls them character action games or something. I always thought it was just hack and slash. You know, like Devil May Cry, Metal Gear Rising, that sort of thing. Bayonetta's the one that clicked with me the best. It clicked with me tremendously. The gameplay just felt natural. The dodging and the attacking and just the fighting in general. And the moves were fun, and even like the challenge areas seemed really hard. Like, how the hell would you do this? But then you do figure them out. Bosses were cool. The characters were silly but fun. You know, like little story going on. Bayonetta 2, I don't think... I've said this before with a couple games, but I guess I just have this thing where if a sequel for me... like feels a little too, like, if it doesn't stand out enough to me in a few different ways, it feels like less exciting for me. And that's how I kind of felt with Bayonetta 2. There were things of Bayonetta 2 that I think did improve on the first game. Mostly like quality of life stuff, I think they were less strict about the rankings, punishment and stuff like that. And there probably were some additions that I don't quite remember off the top of my head. But it's one of those things where I would rank Bayonetta 2 exactly the same as Bayonetta 1, but because I had already played Bayonetta 1, it technically ranks a little lower. But it's gonna just go there because it was more Bayonetta, and I did enjoy it a good deal. Wonderful 101 is the same kind of game. I thought that was completely different. Nightmare Before Christmas game. Okay. Alright, once again, I need to I need to start going faster. Okay. Bloodborne PSX. So this was a really, really cool fan mod. Or not even a fan mod, they just built it up from scratch of what if Bloodborne was a PS1 game. I actually feel like this game clicked with me better than any of the other Souls-like games for as short as amount of that I played it. I should have finished it, probably. It was fun. It was a fun game. I don't know if it goes up to enjoyed a good deal, because it's still kind of in that area where it's not exactly my kind of game. There's a Nightmare Before Christmas game that plays like Devil May Cry, and the Gobble says it's pretty decent. That's funny, maybe we'll play that one time. I'm gonna say pretty good, just because I appreciate it a lot, and I do think it clicked with me better than other Souls-like games, probably because of the simplicity of it. But I don't think it pushed up for it. Did I play to the part where it becomes a Resident Evil game? No. And being stalked in games is very tricky territory, because I feel like I could either really appreciate it or I could be really annoyed by that, depending on how it's done. But I think pretty good where that's gonna go. Boom blocks. I guess it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but it's like, it's just boom blocks. I don't know where to... Because it doesn't feel right to say I thought it was okay. Because I don't think I appreciated boom blocks as much as these. But I also didn't dislike boom blocks as much as these. But then I don't want to make a whole different tier that's like somewhere in between, because there's not going to be a lot of games that are just... Oh, I can't read that. Okay, there's the boom blocks tier, because it's just boom blocks. I don't know what to say. It's boom blocks, guys. Boom blocks. What do you want from me? I heard the Bloodborne PSX person made a demo of a motorcycle racing game. I think I saw that on Twitter as well, like Mario Kart. She's making Bloodborne Kart. There we go. Turned April Fool's joke into a real project. That's funny. That's good. That's good when in April Fool. All right, Steven Spielberg's Boom Blocks. Sorry, let me get that right. Out of all the games to have his name on, that looks horrible. It's pushing the tier list wider because of we're just gonna leave it like that, sorry. We know Steven Spielberg made it. Okay. Let's move on. Bionic Commando Rearmed. This is another one of those things that like I could have enjoyed it better than I did because of the live system was just busted. And it just remember that last mission? God, that was brutal. I'm glad I beat the game. I think it's got to go down to it's okay. I think those aspects of it I enjoyed. It's so flawed. Like this could have been up here, or at least here, but then it just had too many problems, I think. Because this is my thing. It just has problems. That's the thing. You missed about this much, Duskus. Alright, binary domain. Binary domain. I really wish I could have gotten the voice command. I'm sorry, Dragnix. Did Fact tell you what happened? So I wanna clarify. This isn't me giving like an objective rating of the games. Like this is what the games should be ranked. It's just my personal what I got out of them, like how much enjoyment I got. I thought Chicory was super charming, and a lot of stuff was great about it. It's just for me, that's how much I enjoyed it. I think Binary Domain is one of those like, you know, I'm not generally into army games, but I appreciate that it had a different thing going on. It almost had like a Suda Hideo Kojima storyline going on. Oh, you saw Glass Onion, nice. Zach just watched that as well. I think I liked the first Knives Out more, but Glass Onion was a pretty fun movie, for sure. Man, I feel like once again, I don't want to crap on anyone's game suggestion, but it's just Binary Domain just wasn't quite my like it wasn't my type of game, but it was fun for what it was. There was definitely stuff about it that I could enjoy. See, it's interesting how this works, because you have something like Bionic Commando Rearmed, where it should be my kind of game, but it's so flawed that it just drops down here. And then you have Binary Domain, where it's not my kind of game, but because I can appreciate stuff about it, it goes up. You know, it just all depends on your perspective. No, Joe, I want you to keep recommending games. I want to keep playing games that that's out of my comfort zone. That's important. Okay, Broforce. I thought Broforce was a fun little game. Like, it's one of those games where it's like, oh, this is like fun, and like you get to play as like Rambo and Terminator and all kinds of different approximates of these different action stars. Apollo Creed is in there, I'm sure. At the same time, I don't know that it's one of those games that I could keep playing forever. It does kind of feel like after a while it's sort of the same, and that's like, once again, it's one of those things where some people could just keep playing that type of thing for a long time. For me, it's maybe one of those things that I enjoy a lot, but I think I could only play so much of. I think this would have to settle snugly into the Boom Blocks category. So that's where that's going to go. Cave Story. Ooh. This is gonna be rough. Jay wants your buddy. No, nobody is pressured to do any donations. This is all for fun. I appreciate the support though, for people who do support a lot, but that's definitely not necessary. Cave Story is gonna be rough because I enjoyed the majority of the game. I think the way that the game punishes you is really harsh, and I didn't have to experience that for most of the game because I did pretty well for most of the game. Like, I got pretty lucky. I think Fax said towards the end of the game where you have to jet through a lot of these spikes, he stopped playing because he couldn't take it anymore. And I was lucky enough that I had a hang of the controls that I didn't have that problem there. But because I decided to go for the secret ending, okay, not even counting the secret ending, the boss rush final boss fight was kind of brutal, but you can learn the bosses and get better at them. I think if we're including the secret ending stuff was miserable, I would drop that down. I'll never play that again. But the game cave story itself, I think was, would I say pretty good? It could get satisfying when you were doing stuff right. Man, this is rough. I think this has to go to the Boom Blocks category. I'm sorry, guys. Going to the Boom Blocks category. I think my experience with the secret ending is just tainted it too much. Didn't do the secret stuff, just played it intuitively. You had a better overall time because of it, Gobble. The worst part is I spent hours on stream trying to beat the secret ending level. I stopped playing. I stopped streaming. I started playing. I just decided I don't want to go to sleep without doing this. I beat it on my first try, off stream. Basically, I started it and I fell into I died right away in the first room by accident. And then literally the first proper time after that, I beat it. It was so stupid. It was like, oh, of course. Okay. That was my experience with Cave Story. The first core fight. Oh yeah, that was oh my god, this song's playing again. Sorry, I had to change that. Okay. Oh, Cuphead. Cuphead's going up here. I'm just gonna say it. I loved Cuphead. There's definitely elements of Cuphead where it could get frustrating, obviously, because it's a really challenging game. Some of the bosses could get really, really hard. But that's just how the game works. There's something about the way Cuphead plays where it's just like, this is my kind of game. This is hard in the right kind of way. This is the kind of game where you're redoing a boss fight over and over again, but it's like, I'd much rather redo a boss fight that only takes so long to beat once you get it than redoing like a boring level that I know I can beat already over and over again just to get back to a boss fight. Yeah, Cuphead was great. Cuphead was right up my alley. I really, really liked it. And this is, and I'm not just saying like this is I died plenty of times playing Cuphead, you know? It's not like, I don't want to just rate games because I did very well in them. So, I mean, Super Ghosts and Goblins, that's a game I died a bunch of times, but it's still really fun. But they just click with me better. Fred thinks that Cuphead sucks. Leave the song on for Dino Crisis. The Donkey Kong song. Oh, and the DLC was great. It was a great follow-up. They took their time with it. It takes a long time, and you gotta really appreciate. I mean, any praises that I sing Cuphead, you probably heard it before. Hand-drawn animation is beautiful. Gameplay's tight. Does it have flaws? I think yeah. I think there are some parts of Cuphead that are maybe... There's a little glitches here and there, or little weird stuff that happens, or sometimes there's like foreground objects, or sometimes I don't immediately recognize a part of a hazard that a boss is doing. But it's fine, you know? It more than makes up for that in like every other way. Dino Crisis. Well, this is the game that I've most recently played. So it's most fresh in my head. The voice actor for DK's in Dino Crisis. Oh, sorry. I mixed this up with Parasite Eve. No, you're right, Fack. And didn't I recognize that? Like, I heard his voice, and I was like, yo, that's DK. And then we looked it up. Yeah, sorry about that. Parasite... I think Parasite Eve and Dino Crisis was, like, in the same parts of my brain for a long time before I played either of them. Sorry. Dino Crisis... was a game that I enjoyed to a degree and that I like classic survival horror games. But I remember having a lot of problems navigating the game. And the game had this habit of no matter where you're going, no matter how lost you are, no matter if you're going in the complete wrong direction, it's gonna make you fight dinosaurs over and over and over again. And that really annoyed me. I don't like that. Resident Evil 1, I think, does zombies perfectly. Where there's zombies in an area, you know they're in that area, they're always going to be... There's a very specific amount of zombies that are in very specific areas. And that's goes so well with the survival horror concept, because it's like, okay, here's... Okay, I gotta go down this hallway now. Oh man, there's a zombie I left alive there. Okay, I gotta worry about him. Okay, am I gonna bring ammo for this? If I don't bring that extra ammo, then I can have room to pick up an item. You know, there's just a lot of interesting... Like, I feel like Resident Evil 1 just does the survival horror strategizing elements, like, so well. Especially Resident Evil 1 remake for GameCube. That's my favorite version of the game. I would say this is in the okay category. Maybe I'd spoiled myself having played Resident Evil before these other games, so I'm more critical of them. Dragon said Jay having trouble with navigation, who would have guessed? Dino Crisis infamously has respawning enemies, that's why they give you the options for vents and laser gates. I mean, that's fine, it's just for me personally, it just made things a lot more annoying. I just don't like... I already feel bad that I'm lost, and I'm trying to find where to go, and I'm frustrated because I don't know what I'm doing. So when they throw dinosaurs at you on top of that, I just get frustrated. It just gets annoying. Whereas with Resident Evil, you know already, like, okay, I know this is here, that's there. If there is a new enemy in a room in Resident Evil, it's because the story's been progressed and something's changed, like when you return to the mansion and the hunters show up. Whereas Dino Crisis is like, oh, you're lost? Haha, get attacked as well. In Dino Crisis 2, it doesn't try to split the difference between horror and action. Okay, I mean, yeah, we'll probably try that eventually. Disco Elysium. This is a super popular game. This game ranks super highly. Once again, this is my opinion, guys. I'm sorry. This isn't my kind of game. I thought it was okay. But it wasn't like so... it wasn't so compelling to me that like I found it engaging that I like really wanted to keep playing and seeing what would happen next. I could appreciate stuff about it. I don't think I clicked with the character. This is supposed to be a game where you're kind of inserting yourself into the character role, right? But they're making so... They make so certain that you were this horrible drunk. And then if you try to make up for the fact you're a drunk, the game calls you a pushover. And it just seems like they're cornholing you into you have to be this certain person. And I didn't really appreciate that very much. When this seems like they're gearing you to be playing a type of game where you are crafting who you are as a person and you are making decisions as who you are as a person. I don't appreciate that they're like forcing you to be a certain way, and then if you try to like make up for it, is that the right word? Cornholing? No? Pigeonholing. Pigeonhole? What's the phrase? Oh, cornholing the game with the sacks. Okay. Whoops. All right. Well, okay. I don't like that they cornhole you in Disco Elysium. No, I thought it was fine. I could see why a lot of people loved it. It just didn't click with me personally. It seems like they want you to be a certain way, and like, it is what it is. You know, it's fine. It's whatever. It's just not for me. Elden Ring. This is gonna be tricky. The reason why I'm so harsh on like Dark Souls and Elden Ring is that there's so much about them that I should love. I love like the medieval aesthetic. I love the fantasy qualities. I love the over-the-top bosses with the weird backstories that you don't really know, but look at them. I love challenging games. I love bosses in general. Jay, when he sees people throwing socks into holes from a distance, don't appreciate this. Not one bit. But there's just so much about the Dark Souls games, or Souls-likes in general, that I hate. I despise the having to pick up your souls again. I hate it. It just seems like it is just born out of, we don't like you, player. We want to inconvenience you. We want you to just be annoyed and have to do, because now every time I'm fighting a boss, I have to go pick up my souls before I try again. So I get hurt as I'm picking up my souls, so I fail the boss fight, then I come back, and then, you know, ad infinitum. I also don't like when in Elden Ring, they were a bit better about it, where you could restart the boss fight, usually, or at least more often, without having to redo a lot of stuff. But there still were some times where you had to like get through some enemies or something to get back to the boss. I thought I was done with Margit as well, I think I did like Elden Ring more than what I played of the other Dark Souls games. But it just hurts so much because I want to love it, but it just doesn't click with me at all. The gameplay also, I'm sorry, this is going to be an opinion right here. This is going to be, this is going to cause the flamethrowers to come out. I honestly believe that Elden Ring is an unintuitive, Dark Souls in general that I've played in Elden Ring has an unintuitive gameplay system that people have like forced themselves into getting used to. And they're like, oh, you just get good at it. And it's like, but it doesn't feel good. It feels bad. You could play Superman 64 and become the best speedrunner of Superman 64. It doesn't mean that the gameplay is like intuitively, naturally feels good. I'm sorry. That's how it feels to me. Like, it just feels that way. And I think I probably did get... It's different with like Cuphead, where it's a hard game where you die over and over again, but Cuphead naturally feels right. It feels good. Everything works. Dark Souls feels like you have to like learn another language. Gobble said the final third of Elden Ring was so awful it almost ruined the whole game for me. No. You know where I stopped? I had just beaten a boss, and then I went back to fight Rodin just to try it out. Just because, oh, here's another big boss that I don't have to fight, but I'm gonna try it anyways. And I beat Rodin on my first try. I turned the game off and I said, I'm never playing this again. No one can ever tell me I rage quit Elden Ring. I one-shotted a big boss and I'm done with it. That's it. That's where we're leaving it. But I'm gonna put it in the Boom Blocks category, because that is now a category, apparently. I appreciate stuff about Elden Ring. I wish I could like it more. Dragonix said, did I just hear a comparison to Superman 64 with Elden Ring? You sure did. Sorry. I'm raising my voice again. Oh, Enter the Gungeon. I feel like this is one of those games where if you watched my stream, you would get the opinion that I probably didn't like it as much as I did, because I was just so dumb with it. There was just like one or two like too many mechanics that I couldn't remember. So I would like get kind of far and then I would die without using a blank, or I would like forget to use a certain item or something or whatever. And that was just me being dumb. I think the game, out of all the roguelikes I played, Enter the Gungeon might actually be the one that I enjoyed the most. I'm gonna put this up here and enjoyed a good deal. I wish I had Enter the Gungeon for Switch so I could play it like on the plane, because I'm going on a plane pretty soon on a very long plane trip. I might have to just buy it. Is it on sale? Let me look. I have it on Epic, I think. It probably isn't on sale. All the sales are probably over by now. I'm just gonna check for the heck of it. Because this is the kind of game where, like, the only reason I stopped playing it is because I don't want to put so much time into a game that can sink up a lot of time, because I have so many other games to play. Dragnix knows exactly what I'm talking about. You just never have enough time. Joe said he talked all this crap about Souls games and then puts Elden Ring and Boombox above. I know. There's a lot of, like, at the start of it I was saying, there's a lot of things about this that I do enjoy and that I want to enjoy. To clarify, this is starting off as a game that should be up here, and it's getting knocked down, like, annoying, having to fight through stuff to get back to the boss. Boom. Controls feel horrible. Boom. Having to retrieve your souls. I don't know, like, it's annoying. You know, it's getting bumped down a lot from where I want it to be. Whereas some of these games are starting, like, down, like, I shouldn't like this as much as I do. Dragon says 134 new games that I bought and played. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. I think I can also appreciate that, at least with Elden Ring, there is a lot of, like, you can just wander around and kind of just slowly gain levels and get better, and then, like, that'll make... I usually don't care for that. I usually am more of, like, Cuphead style, where I don't want to worry about power-ups, I don't want to worry about this and that, I just want to get good at a boss and beat it. And that's why I did Cuphead using the base pea shooter. The only thing I didn't do the pea shooter with initially was the final boss of the DLC, but I actually went back and did it with the pea shooter after. I think I recorded it too, I just never uploaded it, just for posterity, because I felt bad that was the only boss I didn't do with the pea shooter. Then I was like, geez, how much easier could have these other bosses been if I just, like, wasn't so stingy. Not stingy, stubborn. Okay, let's move along here because we still have a lot to do. Freedom Planet. Freedom Planet, pretty fun. I really appreciate that Freedom Planet clearly is inspired by Sonic. Artistically, the way the gameplay looks, maybe even a little bit of the tone. But it isn't just Sonic, it's different. The characters play differently. There's a different story. There's different stuff going on. I really appreciate that. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I had a good time with it. It's cool that they have voice acting. You wouldn't expect this game to have voice acting, but they put an indie team put the, you know, effort in to have voice acting. I feel like this deserves to go in the pretty good category. So, and then I'm just gonna move on. Oh, what is this? Ganryu, what is it, 4 or something? Dragnix also Dragnix might have actually given me a code for this game. I'm gonna feel really... I'm sorry. Damn it. I thought the game was pretty boomboxy until I got to the level where it got really bad. I don't remember if you got to that level where you could literally like glitch through the floor, and then now you're in the next area. There was something broken. The game broke. I remember that. The game broke really badly to where it needs to at least go down here. It has to. The idea of this game should be up here, but it's busted. There was something else about it where there was just some weird decisions with the gameplay where you can slice, like intuitively, if an enemy's coming from above you, I think if you hold up, he doesn't slice or something. In fact, do you remember what that was? There was something where like, if you hold up and try to attack, he doesn't attack or something. Like you have to be standing still. But I kept like trying to hold up and attack instinctively because of an enemy would be coming from above me. Something weird like that. I mean, this has to at least go right here because of that. Where like, I enjoyed parts of this more than the games down here, but it was just so busted. And I'm sorry, I appreciate that you gave the key. And I'm sorry to the developers. Maybe you didn't have enough time. Maybe, you know, it was a budget issue. I have no idea. This is just my personal enjoyment of the game. Making games are hard. We should always clarify that no matter where these stand, you know, games are hard to make. Maybe they even patched it. Maybe I should go try it again and it's been fixed. If you died once, you had to reboot the whole game. Right, that's right. That was pretty bad. That is game breaking. Okay, next. Going Under. This was a roguelike that I thought was a really fun idea. It was probably the most different from any of the other roguelikes I played. Sorry, but Dragnix said, I'm noticing a trend. The highest games on the list are single screen or very linear. Except Flower, Sun, and Rain. Flower, Sun, and Rain, there's a little bit of like, you might not know exactly where you need to go, but it's not like a huge explorative thing. Yeah, if that's been fixed, that's great. Maybe I'll try it out again and like play it again sometime. Anyways, Going Under, I thought it had a cool, unique style. The characters were fun. I just feel like there was something about it where it didn't click with me as well. It was another one of those things where like I never quite got used to the gameplay. And there was something about the way that I think there's just a randomness to roguelikes in general that doesn't really align with my preferences when it comes to games. I tend to prefer games, like I don't want games to be predictable, but I like the idea of like, here's a certain challenge that you learn and then now you have to deal with it. Like more like a Mega Man type thing. Mega Man can have elements of randomness to it, I guess. I don't know how to describe it, but some games like they just completely like, oh, you lose this run because you didn't get this item, or this enemy appeared in this room or something. And I totally get the idea behind that. That's the whole point. That's just how those games are supposed to be. But I don't know, boom blocks. I'm just gonna throw them with boom blocks. Oh, Ghost of Tsushima. I totally forgot about this game. Ghost of Tsushima was beautiful visually. See, that's the funny thing fact. That was one of the things about Hyper Light Drifter that I think kind of gave me some problems was like getting lost or not sure what I was supposed to do. But sorry, Ghost of Tsushima, beautiful game. The combat was like had this interesting blend of like you had to be careful because you could die really easily, but then you could also get really good at it and like just start cutting through people. The way Ghost of Tsushima had the perfect sized open world map for me. Whatever the way they did it, the amount of side things you were able to do and the size of the open world was perfect for me to where it didn't feel overwhelming, but there was still stuff to do. This has to like I think this would go to I had a ton of fun. I really enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima. I'm trying to think of anything about it I didn't really like. Right, it even has a, it points you in the direction that you want to go, too, if you need help trying to figure out where to go. Joe says, I like my games linear-ish with guns and explosions and war crimes. Ghost of Midshima. That's so funny. I've heard so many people say that they didn't like Ghost of Tsushima, but like for me, you wouldn't think that this would be a J game, right? But it is. I liked it a lot. I'm kind of contemplating between these two, but I feel like Ghost of Tsushima is a step up before all of these other games for me. I think it's a step up. Papa Wind, where do I go? That's right, it's our dad. The Wind Dad. Okay, we have the God of War games. I might get crucified for this. This is another one of those things where I always wanted to play God of War for years and years. I would see like stuff on like G4 about it. I didn't have a PS2, or I didn't know someone who had the games on PS2. It definitely gelled with me better than like Devil May Cry. I think it even gelled better with me than Metal Gear Rising. But it also isn't one of those things where like I love this. I don't think at any point where I was playing God of War I was like, I love this. Yeah. I'm trying to think, what did I like really like about God of War? It had Pandora's Temple, you get big and kill Ares. That was a pretty satisfying final boss fight, and the bosses in general were kind of fun. You know what, though? I honestly cannot separate the two of these games in my head. Gobble said, God of War is a pretty meat and potatoes action game that was a lot of edgier and more exciting at the time, but it's still reasonably fun. I think that sums it up perfectly. At the time, maybe it was just such a bigger, edgier thing, but to me it's like, it's meat and potatoes. I think I just gotta throw them both here. They were... Yeah, they were fun, but they were like nothing super special for me. And I don't think either of them stood out from each other. I have that problem with games I'm noticing. I had it with Bayonetta, I had it with Dead Space. Oh, Guacamelee 2, because I guess we played Guacamelee. Guacamelee 2, it honestly is another one where it's hard for me to separate the two in my head, but I had a lot of fun with both of them. Guacamelee 2 is, I love this song. Very short, but that's a good song. Gobble said the QTE thing was a lot less tired when it came out, and the cinematic violence was cool. The Boom Blocks tier, yeah. Guacamelee is at least pretty good, but it might even go up here. Guacamelee was like, it felt good to play. it was a good sized Metroidvania for me. You always knew where to go. It had boss fights. I appreciated the Latino uh, aspects to it. Although I still think they should have called it the Frog Splash instead of, I forget what they call it. They have a different name for it in the game. It's literally a Frog Splash, but they call it something else. Chicken Gauntlet. The best excuse for losing a power. He just kind of gets out of shape. Yeah. Um. See, it's one of those things where like I can't really think of a flaw. I'm just trying to think of things that would push it up higher. I, you know what? I enjoyed Guacamelee at least as much as Bayonetta 2. Yeah, that should go up there. I think that's, yeah. We'll put that there. And you know what? The chicken was greatly improved in the sequel, and I actually liked the chicken gauntlet. I thought that was fun. It was kind of like a Super Meat Boy or like a Celeste type challenge at that point. Oh, Inside, and um, I feel like Limbo and Inside should both. So you all know that I love Little Nightmares. That's like just a game series that I'm really into. It was clearly inspired by Limbo and Inside. I don't know how it couldn't have been. It's like a 3D version. Both of these were really cool. Inside was kind of a little bit of an expanded version of Limbo. But at the same time, I feel like I both appreciate them to a similar degree. They're both just interesting, intriguing, dark games, and the type of games that I do enjoy a lot. I really enjoy visual storytelling where you just see what's going on and you have to kind of connect the dots, and when a game can like get you with a twist or a reveal without saying anything, just showing you it, I really appreciate that. And I think they both kind of rank side by side for me there, and they're gonna go up there. It'll do very simple Zelda-like. It kind of reminds me of like if this was a Flash game on Newgrounds in like 2005, it would probably be in like the top 50 games of the site. But it's a game you buy instead. I don't think there was anything super special about it. It was fun for what it was. It was entertaining. The final boss fight maybe was kind of funny. Kind of in between okay and Boom Blocks. I can't think of anything about it that I disliked. It just wasn't exceptional. And I've heard It'll Do 2 is better. So I'm gonna put this in It Was Okay. And maybe when I play It'll Do 2, we'll see an increase there on that one. Oh, Just Shapes and Beats. This was great. I loved great Just Shapes and Beats. Very, very simple premise. You're a shape and you have to avoid the other shapes, and it's along with good music, and it's challenging and it's fun, and it's based on just dodging stuff and like timing things and getting used to things. And I think this goes up here. I really liked Just Shapes and Beats. It was a really fun game. I was away from my PC. Why is Jay hating on Dark Souls this time? I'm not hating in it. It went snugly into the Boom Blocks category. It'll Do the first is fine. 2 is a huge jump in quality. All right, well, I'm sure we'll get to that eventually. I think I have it. I think I got both of them. Okay, Kirby, and the Junji Ito land. did I like this as much as Robobot? You know, for the fact that it was different than than pretty much every other Kirby game, I think I appreciate that. I feel like the game got more like the boss fights were actually more fun if you just got rid of your powers, because then you actually had to kind of like strategize around how the boss attacks and sucking up the stars and hitting him with it. It wasn't too much of a pain to get to the real ending either, which I really appreciated. You had the little bonus challenge stuff rooms that were fun. The bosses were cool, like the way they were designed and fought and stuff. Was there anything about this I didn't like? I don't remember anything that I didn't like about this. I feel like it should at least rate it with Robobot. Some hollowed company in the Boombox tier. Just Shapes and Beats, I approve. Thank you. You're all free to say your opinions on these games, by the way. Like Joe just did about the Forgotten Kirby and the Forgotten Game. The Junji Ito comparison, fact, is because it's body horror, the game. Have you seen what Kirby looks like when he like absorbs a car, for instance? Did I get the true ending for? Yeah, I did. Banana. I did. And it was a cool final boss fight, and I appreciated that it wasn't a huge pain in the butt to get the final ending. Although I was making sure, I don't know if I collected everything in every level, but I did collect most things in most levels. I think after a while I was like, okay, I gotta stop doing this. It's gonna start to get annoying. Oh, that was the one thing that annoyed me. You could accidentally go too far and miss one of the collectibles, and then the game makes a conscious decision to not let you backtrack, and you have to restart the level. I hated that. I hate when games do that in general, especially when they tease you like, oh, look at this behind that wall. If you had gone the other way, you could have gotten that. Oh, okay, I'll go the other way. You can't anymore. Finish the level normally and then restart if you want. I didn't like that. The road racing was fun too. I just have a thing with Kirby where it doesn't click with me as much as a lot of other people, but I still appreciate it. So that'll be pretty good. All right, let's move on. We still have a lot more to do here. Kettle Blaster. Kettle Blaster was a lot of fun. It's a up my alley type of game. It's just one of those things that gets brought down because I hated having to restart everything when you ran out of lives. And I know that's a complaint that I keep. I already feel my voice starting to go sore, so I really... Oh god, I need to record lines for a review. I'm gonna start calming down a little. Kettle Blaster. Pretty good. It's an up my alley game, but yes, I liked Kettle Blaster more than Cave Story. Kettle Blaster has one of those jumping systems where once you start jumping in one direction, you can't really turn yourself back the other direction instantly. Cave Story kind of has that too, a bit. I think Kettle Blaster, it's heavier though. And I think that turns off a lot of people, but for me it's like, oh no, this is just a type of platformer. Some platformer games just play like this. Just like Ghosts and Goblins, you know? Ghosts and Goblins has a certain way it plays, and it's fine. It's something that, you know, you just have to get used to. Does it feel as satisfying as something like Super Mario Brothers 2, 3 or whatever? Maybe not, but it's still valid. Katamari Damacy, this was a game that I've wanted to play ever since it came out, but I didn't have a PS2. just the idea of rolling a ball and picking up stuff and get more and more stuff, make a ball bigger. Like, it's just like the monkey part of your brain. It's like just satisfying to do. Some of those later levels got pretty difficult, but it was, I don't think it was ever to the point where it was like, okay, this is getting really frustrating. It was like, okay, sometimes you gotta do, it'll take 2 or 3 tries. I would say this goes in at least pretty good category. It does kind of, it is one of those things where I maybe wouldn't, I would maybe get tired of it after a while if the game kept going on longer and longer, but it didn't keep going on longer and longer. I think it knew when to stop. The Zodiac sign levels was actually a really, really clever twist as well. The fact like, oh, only pick up this stuff, or pick up one of this thing and try to get the biggest one. Like, that's a really smart idea. So kudos to them for coming up with that. And it aligns with the whole Zodiac sign star situation. So that was really cool. But did I like love it? Let's see. I need to compare to other games. I like it as much as I did, but I think it belongs right here. The devs deserve special commendation for the remake. They basically had to remake the whole thing from scratch. Yeah, I agree. I'm so scared. I can feel my voice, like the soreness. That's so dumb. I just get too excited when I'm just explaining something and my voice gets loud. But I'm also not, like, I go, like, I don't talk that much when I'm not streaming, guys. I'm a pretty quiet person unless I'm, like, actively chatting with someone, so I don't think my voice muscles are very... Okay, so this is just Shovel Knight in general. I love Shovel Knight. This is obviously... I obviously actually played Shovel Knight over a couple years, I think. The different campaigns. Oh, Happy New Year's, East Coasters. Let me just throw that right there. Okay, oh, the only one I played was King of Cards. King of Cards probably was my least favorite one, but it still wasn't bad. So am I ranking King of Cards, or am I ranking Shovel Knight? If I'm ranking Shovel Knight as a whole, even with King of Cards, favorites. I love Shovel Knight. I just heard Fireworks as well. I think their clocks are off. If I'm ranking the King Knight, at least down here. But it says Shovel Knight. I'm afraid people are going to show up and be like, Shovel Knight isn't your favorite? Oh no, that does show the King on there. Let's see. I feel like I had a lot of trouble playing the King campaign, but I think I still liked it a lot. I just wasn't as good at it as the other. I'll leave that. What the heck? Why did I play so many freaking Kirby games? What is this even? Return to Dreamland? Boom Blocks. Okay, next. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. This is one of those things where, like, I don't know if it's because I grew up on Paper Mario and I never played Mario and Luigi my entire life. I wasn't used to, like, the timings of things. the way the battle system worked was different. The way like things, there was just so many things about it that threw me off. I still appreciated the humor. Awful was great. That's like one of the best. I can't believe that's a Mario character I never knew about until I played it. Wonderful character. The brothers are fun. You were still allowed to have unique characters. It's got to at least go into pretty good, even if I had trouble adjusting to the game. Did I really enjoy Return to Dreamland that much? I think I played it with Mike, which made it more enjoyable. But I don't know, it's just more Kirby, isn't it? I'm tempted to drop this down here, honestly. Jessica said, Plague, Spectre, Shovel King. For me, it's probably Shovel, Spectre, Plague King. Yeah, honestly, I just don't get a whole lot out of a lot of Kirby games, and I don't think Return to Dreamland just stood out to me that much. Oh, Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread had everything going against it. Metroidvania. Plenty of opportunities for me to get lost. A systems that I didn't quite understand. The counter system, there was just, I had tunnel vision and I just did not see it like 90% of the game. But once I did, the boss fights were a lot of fun. Once I figured out the boss fights, and I love boss fights. Boss fights are a huge thing for me. That's why Cuphead is up there. Metroid Dread's final boss is probably one of the most fun and challenging final bosses I've played. So I think for that reason alone, it's got to go up. Had a ton of fun. No, I don't think I'm looking forward to Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Yeah, let's remake Dreamland 10 more times before we make another F-Zero game. Why don't we? That is true though, the final boss thing where if you don't know to save, they could just screw you over and restart the whole fight. That would have been really annoying. It's not like I was trying to ignore the countering in Metroid Dread. I just couldn't see it. There was just something that just wasn't catching my eye. Metroid Fusion. Out of all the Metroid games I've played so far, I think this one I had the most trouble with. Specifically the final, I don't know, third of the game, final quarter of the game. Zach knows. I got really screwed over with Ridley. I still think that's one of the dumbest game design choices. The only boss we don't put a healing pad before is the most unpredictable, erratic boss in the game. And then we make it a pain in the ass to try to get back to it. And then after that, I just was so done with the game, and I was trying to finish it, and I did like a long-ass 7-hour stream that night. And yeah, there was a lot of things about Metroid Fusion that dropped it down. I want to clarify, it's not here because I played it the year before. Metroid Zero would be up higher. I liked Metroid Zero a lot more. I think that was like perfectly up my alley. I think I also got lost in Fusion. And I didn't get lost as much in Dread. You would have thought I would have got lost a lot more in Dread than I did. But somehow I navigated better than I thought. Punch-Out for Wii. So, NES Punch-Out is one of my favorite games of all time. This is built on the bones of NES Punch-Out. But I want to give it points for making the duck something that is integrated into some of the animations. The gameplay switch up really threw me off. I can't even remember, because in NES Punch-Out, left to dodge left, right to dodge right, down to block. You could tap down twice to dodge, but there's to a duck, but there's no reason to do that in NES Punch-Out. Literally no reason. In this game, they changed it. I can't remember what it was. I think they made it like up is block or something, and then down is duck. That like threw me off a lot. So, Bing, that went down. I couldn't read the boss's tells like at all. There was something about it that like made it a lot harder for me to see realize what was going on. In the gameplay, I don't know if it's just something with the Wii. I was playing on the actual Wii console, so it wasn't an emulation problem. There seemed like there was a great deal of input lag and like input buffering that the NES version didn't have that problem with. There's a lot of stuff I like about Wii Punch-Out. I like that it went back to the old style NES. I like that it introduced ducking as an integral mechanic. I like that you could refight the fighters, but they're harder and they have some visual difference and their story changed, that they did something different. I like they brought Sandman back. I like that they you can fight Donkey Kong, although you only get to try to fight him once and then you can't fight him again or something. That's stupid. It's just the gameplay. There's something off about the gameplay. There's NES Punch-Out has such specific tight controls. You basically have to play on a CRT or like on an NES to like fight Mike Tyson properly. At least me, I have to. I've talked to people about this too. They say like, no, there is a minute level of input lag that just digital systems and televisions have, that for most games it's not a problem. But for certain games like Mike Tyson fighting and Punch-Out, it does become a problem. Anyways, it had very tight controls that this one didn't quite get there. I feel like I can't put this in up here, but I did enjoy it a good deal. I know I said all these problems with it and then I still put it so high, but I mean, that's just how I am. I'll rant and rant and rant about how, oh no, I only give this game a B+, I only gave this an A-. Man, it was so close, like if only these things. And then I'll have another game where I'm like, I don't know, the amount of detail that I go into something varies for no discernible reason. Psychonauts 2. I loved the first Psychonauts. Probably one of my favorite games just for how fun it is, how interesting each level was, the premise, the dialogue is funny, and the art style is cool, the different mines you go into, cool concept. Psychonauts 2 was basically the same thing, but bigger. I had trouble running it because my computer just had trouble running it, but the one flaw I can think of with Psychonauts 2 is that it didn't have a physical release, which would have made me be able to play the freaking game on my PS4 better. The final boss fight also maybe had a couple parts that were like, what? It's not like the final boss fight in the first game was exceptional, but I mean, I don't remember being like bad. I liked it a lot though. I feel like it's got to go up here. I was really excited. There's certain things where you just can't explain why you enjoy a game so much, but you're just excited the whole time you're playing it, and I think that's one of those things. It was fun. It was cool. It was good. Tax says criticize what you love. Yeah, I think that is what I do a lot. A lot of times, I'm going into debt about criticism because I see potential in things, and I just like would like to see things. It's mental how it felt like right. I forgot about that fact. Thanks for reminding me. It literally feels like they didn't miss a step with Psychonauts 2. It flows right into it. It does not feel like it had been 15 years or whatever. Like, not at all. Not even a tiny bit. It feels exactly like... It feels like it could have came out 2 years after the first Psychonauts. It was amazing. That kudos to that. Sly Cooper. Finally got to play this for the first time. Not a bad 3D platformer with fun, like, little sneaky, thievy elements. Boss fights were interesting, but kind of weird sometimes. A lot of clunkiness. It almost felt like a PS1 game, actually. The driving levels were awful. Maybe Sly Cooper 2's better. I need to try that. But we're gonna throw that in Boombox. Sonic Mania might be the best classic Sonic game ever made, and it came out within the past like few years. How big am I into classic Sonic games? I enjoy them a pretty good deal. I'm not a super big Sonic boy, but I do like them a lot. But yeah, this might have perfected it. This might have hit the peak Sonic. They might have took everything that made Sonic good, and they were like, oh yeah, let's tweak that for the modern day, polish this up, let's add these references in, let's do that. How much does it stick out in my head? Thinking about Sonic Mania. What did the final boss look like? Were we in space? You know what's funny? I can't remember a lot though. I feel like it would be wrong to put this in Had a Ton of Fun, and I know I enjoyed the game a lot, but for some reason, I can't think of like... I think I remember one zone and it was like a city or something, like Metropolis or something. Wow. That's really weird, isn't it? I can remember stuff in Psychonauts too. I can remember stuff in all these other games. I think I gotta drop it here just for that. Why didn't it stick in my head? Anyway. Star Wars Republic Commando. This was one that I stopped, right? I might have just been really bad at Republic Commando. This was one of those games where I was having an okay time, and then suddenly the game felt like it got impossible and all my allies were dying and we couldn't keep up and the enemies were just destroying me. Jessica said you didn't get the emerald, so you didn't fight the true final boss. Oh yeah, maybe I'll do that at some point. You know what though? I don't know if I much care for games that make you like, oh, you know those little mini games? You have to do all of those perfectly in order to get the true final boss. I don't think I like when games do that. So I think that's gonna keep this here. Bacta, right, the Bacta. Transformers Fall of Cybertron. I'm not like a huge Transformer boy. There were some pretty epic moments in this game. I don't think I was great at it. I liked the variety that you had. You got to play as like Optimus. You got to play as both the Decepticons and the Transformers. You got to play as little Transformers, big Transformers, giant Transformers. You get to decide who wins at the end, if I remember correctly. This would have been just okay. I feel like I gotta at least push this up here. I gotta push this up to the boom blocks, boys. Happy New Year, Christmas Elf. Well, Sonic did that to become Super Sonic, right? I don't think it was like... That's like if in Sonic Adventure 2, it's like you have to win all the Chow races and then you could fight, do the final mission. Usually in Sonic, it's like, oh, it's to get Super Sonic mode, which is just like a bonus thing. I'm gonna get crucified for this. Link's Awakening wasn't my cup of tea. I think we already know this at this point, the 2D Zeldas. Strangely, apparently do not gel with me. I need to do NES Zelda again, because I do not remember that one being like that. I remember it being really hard, but I don't remember having as many problems, probably because it was more simple. It was just a much shorter game. There's a lot of stuff about the 2D Zeldas that were just... It's just one of those things, like, Jay's brain doesn't line up with this, but I don't think it's a bad game, so I have to put it here. And same for the other Zelda. I don't even... My brain doesn't even... Can't even think of how one might have been better than the other, honestly. Right, the plot usually gives you the emeralds. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. Oh. Yoshi's Island DS. Yoshi's Island DS. Does anyone remember Yoshi's Island DS? Yoshi's Island is one of my favorite games of all time. It's in my top like 4 games of all time. Yoshi's Island, Super Nintendo. This is a monstrosity. It is a sin. It is a blasphemous stain on Yoshi's Island's name. There are elements of this that could have been good. The different babies with the different abilities, that could have been interesting. They did different bosses with different strategies, that could have been fine. Game looks worse than Yoshi's Island, despite coming out 10 years after it. The music is embarrassing. The music isn't just mediocre, it's not just bad, it is embarrassing how nothing the music is in Yoshi's Island DS. When Yoshi's Island has some of the most iconic video game music ever. You're fighting a boss, you're in a hallway and it's like, You're in a cutscene with dialogue. You're in a boss fight. It's all the same crap. It's just boring. And worst of all, the gameplay doesn't feel good either. There were some other very specific things that were just annoying. Oh, that's right. There's a lot of side path distractions in this that the original Yoshi's Island never had. That just sends you in different ways to just waste your time. The navigation, like you shouldn't get lost in Yoshi's Island. Like, what on earth is going on here? And finally, I don't know how they did it, but the camera feels claustrophobic, like you can't see enough of the screen. It might just be how they designed the levels in tandem with the camera. But you know what I honestly have to do? It had to be done. This has to go in a very special place. A very special place for Yoshi's Island DS. At least with Ghosts and Goblins, it's like, well, there's aspects of this that have some of the stuff I like about Ghosts and Goblins. It's just so utterly broken. Yoshi's Island DS is a stain. Did I run out of music? Oh, the video paused. Okay. YouTube thought I was gone. Ninth circle is for sins of betrayal. There you go. I'm gonna feel bad about this. Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. I keep saying I'm gonna feel bad about this. I'm sorry, guys. I have a lot of games up here in the good stuff, though. I just... Maybe I'm... I feel like I'm harder on games than maybe I actually am. I don't know. I try not to be. Yooka-Laylee's seemed like such a great idea because I really like Donkey Kong Country, especially the newer Donkey Kong Country. Tropical Freeze I loved. If Tropical Freeze was this year, it would be up in favorites of the year. I loved it. Yooka-Laylee the Impossible Lair, it just like, I don't know, it just didn't feel as tight, and the levels didn't feel as inspired. I thought the concept of the Impossible Lair itself was very interesting, but the gameplay didn't add up for me. Yeah, and I'm disappointed in that. I really wanted to like Impossible Lair a lot. But I have to put it here. It just didn't work for me. I even think that the levels changing based on outside forces is a cool idea. Alright, Metro 2033. That was an interesting title. I think that I got stuck in a couple places that was kind of challenging because I was not very good at the game. I don't understand about the avoiding killing people thing. But it seems like it's just, I thought Metro was just like, I don't know, you're in an apocalyptic future and it's an army game, but you actually had like electro spirits and stuff going on. There was some interesting, towards the end it got the most interesting. So even if it's like FPS army style, which I'm not into, I feel like it's got to at least go up to boom blocks here. Spider-Man Miles Morales. Same with the PS4 Spider-Man. I had a lot of fun with this. I feel like there's a trade-off between PS4 Spider-Man. PS4 Spider-Man wouldn't go up to... I don't think it would go up to I had a ton of fun. Because I enjoyed it a lot. PS4 Spider-Man would go enjoyed a good deal. Because it's a fun game, and you get a web sling around, and it's Spider-Man, and there's villains. But I don't know if there was anything where that really pushed it to like really high, super high levels of loving it. Miles Morales, I think it introduced new gameplay elements, which made the gameplay a little more satisfying. You have all the electro stuff, the invisibility. I even found stealthing enemies easier. I wasn't even using invisible either. I was just stealthing them easier. I don't know why. Like, but I think the weaker aspect is that it has much less in terms of villains. I think it's like Rhino and Tinkerer, and I think that's it. I think those are... no, the Prowler. But still, I feel like... And those are cool villains. They're all cool. But I feel like it just had less villains, and the villains are really important, and I think that's going to kind of drop it back down with PS4 Spider-Man. I can't sort within the categories. I've decided to just... They're all around. Like, maybe I like something in there more than another thing, but they're all generally in that area. The thing I most appreciate about PS4 Spider-Man's story is that the build-up with Doc Ock was excellent. They spent so much time with you working for Doc Ock, the you know, mentor apprentice relationship, him slowly getting his you know, his claws. I honestly thought the game was going to end before Doc Ock became Doc Ock, because they were just taking their time with it, and then it turns out he's like the main villain. That was really good because you actually form this bond with the character. And then the ending, which isn't like he finds out and he's surprised, it's that he reveals that he knows you're Peter and he still just tried to kill you. That was brutal. That was good. They did really good with that. They didn't have the time to do that with Miles and then yeah. Yeah, it was good, but it wasn't as built up. And that's fine, you know. There's good things about being it shorter. Okay. We're starting to chunk down on these games here. Uh-oh. 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 I hope my... Oh, look at what two games are right next to each other. Look. If I was being nice, I would put it here, which sounds horrible. But I gotta be honest, I just didn't get anything out of Mystic Quest. The one thing I got out of Mystic Quest was the 80s power ballad song that would play in the cave. Put it right next to Yoshi. No, it doesn't deserve to be next to Yoshi. It doesn't deserve to be next to Yoshi, but I don't want to play it again. Never want to play this again. Yeah. Well, anyways. Mystic Quest. It's just... Oh, hey, Black Stepdad, welcome. Happy New Year. And 00 too, what's up? See the dead end boss. 00 coming in with the recurring joke. The dead ends, boss. We gotta add in more dead ends. I don't think... Do I really need to explain what I didn't like about Mystic Quest? It just, to me, the whole game was just grind the game. And the story was so watered down, it just didn't... It didn't do anything for me. I can't remember anyone's name. Let me think. Let me try to remember one character's name. There was a character with a big brain, that's all I remember. I'm sorry, Mike. But I did beat it. I did play through it. And Mike may have gotten something Mystic Quest related for Christmas. Because even though I disliked the game, I try to be a good friend, and I tried to extend an olive branch. Oh, there was a character named Jay. Alright, so moving on. Do I even have to say this? I have a review about this game. Oh, you're right. I get to put this here fact because I played this this year on PS4. PS4 version's better than the Switch version, by the way. It just is. My favorite way to play No More Heroes is with motion controls. But with the Wii and a nunchuck, I do not like how the Joy-Cons feel. As soon as they come out with the Wii and nunchuck attachment for the Switch, that will become my favorite version. Or if there's a mod or something you could do for Steam version, I don't know. No More Heroes 3 on PS4 and PC, obviously, and PS5 and stuff. It just looks way better, plays more stably. As the game itself, I did a review on this, so you probably already know. I love Suda51 stuff. I love No More Heroes. This was just an insanely good time. Was it a satisfying conclusion to the series? Was it like this big, like, okay, this is the conclusion? Not really. But I had an amazing time from start to finish, and that's the most important thing ever. If you're going into No More Heroes 3 expecting this, like, serious, like, you know, wrapping up the overarching story, you might be disappointed. But if you go into it just like, okay, let's see what Suda did this time, let's see what the Madman did, you'll probably have fun. And I had a lot of fun because it just clicks in my head. Black Stepdad said my current RPG is Chained Echoes on Xbox. I've never heard of that one. I don't think RPGs for me would be good stream games anyways, like even like a good one. For the most part, unless it's something I really, really, really want to play. Just because they take so long, and it's just a lot of grinding, and I don't know how entertaining I can be when I'm just fighting the same enemy for the 20th time. We have Crash Bandicoot 2, Entranced for the Game Boy Advance. This was a childhood game of mine. It's pretty enjoyable, but it's very clunky. It's clunkier than I remember. It's pretty short. A couple of the boxes that you need to get all the boxes to get the true final ending, another one of those things, are in some BS ridiculous places. I don't know how I found it as a kid. And I found it as a kid because it's before I had internet. I don't know how the heck I did it. You literally have to take leaps of faith to find a couple boxes and a couple levels. But overall, I mean, it gotta be at least pretty good. I gotta say at least pretty good. So at least you know my childhood nostalgia isn't just boosting everything up super high. I mean, my only childhood game so far on here is Crash, Buster, I think. Oh, Pac-Man World. Okay, is Pac-Man World Repack better than Pac-Man World? I think, well, first off, what do I think about Pac-Man World? Pac-Man World, childhood game, fun 3D platformer. I think it's underrated. A few of the bosses are pretty harsh, especially if you're a kid, but at the same time, they're not impossible. You can figure them out. Having to rescue all the Pac family to fight the final boss is a little, but at the same time, it's not that long of a game, so it's not that big of a deal. I think it's underrated. I like Pac-Man World a lot. I appreciate it. I feel like I want to put that up here. I think Remaster does improve a bit on the quality of life stuff. Like, you don't have to rescue all the Pac family members to fight the final boss. Some of the bosses are changed in weird ways, but some of them are made better. I don't think it's better enough that they go to different tiers. Oh, did you play Pac-Man World 2, Chris Mersoff? Yeah, that's definitely a big nostalgic thing for me. I had a rough time with Metroid Fusion, Black Stepdad. I liked Metroid Zero better, and Metroid Dread went all the way up here, so... I gotta play more Metroid games to really feel out how I feel about the series overall. I think the fact that Metroid Dread's final boss fight is as fun as it is pushed it up there. I think that was the thing. It might have landed down here otherwise. Oh, it tells you which levels the Pac family is, and that definitely helps too. There's something about the butt bounce in Pac-Man World Repack which feels less satisfying. So there's just a couple drawbacks in here that keeps it from being better than this. I think they're both kind of on equal footing for different reasons. They both have the same exact music and sound effects, which is kind of bizarre. Okay, we're getting down this list. Paris ID, this was the game that I just finished yesterday. Okay, so let's think about this. Classic survival horror game. That's good for me. I like classic survival horror game. Very different from classic survival horror game. Bonus points. It's different, and it's different in a fun way that works most of the time. It has some problems. There are some weird ways that menus work that aren't very convenient. There are a lot of things that they don't explain very clearly about how they work. You scan the so much of the game's mechanics seems to center around a second playthrough rather than the first playthrough, that it just feels like they took all the food off of their first child's plate and gave it to the second child. It's like, what are you doing? First playthrough is like neutered at a certain point. There's no point to scan any enemies like ever, because 99% of the time it gives you a weakness that you don't have the weakness for yet, or it tells you nothing, and then their health is just question marks. It's really dumb. And on top of that, the biggest disappointing thing for me is that as a survival horror game, it doesn't let you analyze most things. Like if you're playing a survival horror game like Silent Hill or Resident Evil, and you're walking through a building and you look at an object like, oh, that's an interesting object, you go up and interact with it, it'll say something like, this grandfather clock looks like it's been here for decades. You know, just little flavor text like that adds so much to those games. And this game is severely lacking in it. Like really, really lacking in it. I was in a museum and I was constantly seeing displays. They would have backgrounds showing like the descriptions on an exhibit, and I would go up to it and nothing. The game goes on and on about mitochondria. I see a sculpture of mitochondria with a plaque in front of it. Nothing. Like, so disappointing. But I have to at least give it that it was trying something different. I was told that it was developed under a big time crunch, so that they probably didn't have a lot of time. They probably had to focus more on translating than flavor text. And because of this one severely epic scene with Daniel towards the end of the game, it's got to go up to pretty good at least. It's got to be pretty good. And I'm interested in playing Parasite Eve 2 to see if they maybe polish up some of those things that I had problems with. Yeah, remake it now, please. Okay, Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remake. Okay, so we know I love Resident Evil, especially the classic games, and 4. Resident Evil 7. I would put Resident Evil 7 in pretty good. I would put Village in favorite of the year. That's how much I think it improved on 7. And RE2 and 3 remake I think is somewhere in between. I think I like them a little more than 7, but my second playthrough of RE2, not on hardcore, definitely improved my experience of the game. Does it push it up to had a ton of fun though? I'll tell you right now, 3 I liked a bit less than 2 for a number of reasons. I felt like I got lost way more. I felt like it was a little boring that there was so much backtracking through the city, just like the same city streets over and over and over again. It still was a good game, but like there were a lot of things about it. I like 2 more than 3, but I don't know if it's enough to shoot it up to had a ton of fun. You know what I'm gonna have to do? I'm gonna have to do this, I think. Anything beats the Goop Monster Parade. Remnant. That's an interesting one because it's one that I had a mixture of things with a lot of time. I think overall, I I think Remnant was another one of those games that had everything going against it in terms of me enjoying it. But there were a lot of things I liked about it. There was some disappointments that I liked Chronos so much, but this one not as much. But I think it's a fun game. If I wasn't renting Remnant, I probably would have played it more. And if I had the well, you know what? If I had the PC version, I would have did the DLC. Well, I have it, but I can't play it because my PC doesn't want to play it for some reason. I feel like this goes pretty good. Anything beats the Goop Monster Parade. What is the Goop Monster Parade? Are you talking about in Parasite Eve? Oh, that was pretty weird, not gonna lie. Oh, Silent Hill. I am so glad I finally got to play Silent Hill and all the way through. Man, Silent Hill. I had a lot of fun with this. I'm trying to think of any potential drawbacks. Different tone from Resident Evil. It has the dynamic camera that has a very artistic, like, turns and spins to it depending on where you're going. It does it. How much do I like the environment? They're fine. Man, I like this game a lot. I like this game a lot. There was like the part in the sewer where I had no idea where to go, and I still to this day can't remember what the heck I was doing wrong. Oh, wasn't there like you had to like go in and out? Once in a while you had to like know to like, oh, go into this bathroom and then go out of the bathroom and then something in the building has changed or something. That maybe is the one thing that bumps it down from favorite of the year to had a ton of fun. I really enjoyed Silent Hill a lot, but there's just like once in a while there's one of those things that... And I thought the puzzles were really fun too. They had really cool puzzles. Like the piano puzzle is one of my favorite puzzles, probably. It's up there. It's definitely up there. Man, we're so down far on the list. I haven't been like looking at what's coming up, but like this might be the last thing that ranks this high. The weird elevator thing, at least that you have more of a chance of going back into that elevator since you have to go in it to change floors, and then you would see the number. I think because I was streaming, I wasn't as focused and I missed the number 4 pop-up. I can appreciate that. Gobble says the OG Silent Hill has aged quite well. Yeah, I'm actually really excited to play Silent Hill 2 after having so much fun with 1. Oh, and you know what? I had played through Silent Hill before, like when I was like, I don't know, it was like 10 years ago or something, and I had a lot of fun with it back then too. But this time I was actually way better at navigating it, maybe because I was a bit older, I don't know. Anyways, oh, Slay the Spire. This has kind of a sore spot for me. I had a lot of fun with this game. I think I got kind of hurt that I think I disappointed a lot of people. We managed to get first try successful runs with the first character, with the second character, with the third character, and then all we needed was the 4th character, and we made it all the way to the final boss, and I botched it. I didn't know what I was doing. I was stupid. I think I saw the potion that said like triple your attack, but I thought someone said that when you triple your attack, you also die the next turn. Or like, okay, I don't want to pick that up. I don't know. I messed up at the very end. I was really it's just such it's never gonna happen again. A game where that situation, I'm never gonna be in that situation again, and I just feels really bad. that we lost it. But I can't take away that the game itself is a really fun game. And I like card games like that, even though I take a million years to play it. No, I haven't played any of the Silent Hills except one. Gobble said Slay the Spire has some of the worst unwinnable situation problems of any roguelikes. I mean, that's what happened to me, but I think it's because it's a card game and you need to draw the right cards, but you need to have the setups, and I didn't know what I was doing for that character. You didn't disappoint anyone, it's the nature of the game, you did really good. I might be really bad at it. I don't know, I think I got really lucky. Then I said no, I said there was a card that puts you in the stance that triples your attack, but kills you at the end of the turn. I think I misremembered. I just remembered someone saying, oh, triple your attack with that character and then you die the next turn. So I saw a vial that said triples your attack, and I thought, oh no, well it's gonna kill me the next turn. Or maybe I saw the vial, oh no. The vial said puts you in divinity, and I was like, okay, what's divinity? And I read the triples your attack, and then I was like, okay, so that's the thing that kills you the next turn. That's what it was. So yeah, I'm dumb. If I had that vial, I would have won, by the way, if I just had that vial. But because I thought the wrong thing, whatever, it doesn't matter. It was a fun game. I just botched it at the end there. Space Marine, this was, what, didn't they just announce the sequel to this recently? This was fun, another like army shooter. This one was third person, I think. It had an interesting balance between melee and projectile weapons where neither of them really seemed more important than the other one. You were often switching between the both, probably more than any other game I could think of. Once again, it is one of those categories of games that I'm just not super into, but I appreciate for what it was, so we would boom blocks that. No. I know I saw the vial before you joined. Nobody was watching me when I saw the vial. I played. That's probably why I lost. No one was there to tell me that I was doing anything stupid. I played that character run for like almost 2 hours before anyone really showed up. And that's probably why I failed, because I didn't know what I was doing. Slay the Spire is a game where you need to be building a deck towards the right way from the start of the game. And if you don't have it by the end, and I knew it, I knew going into the final boss, every other character by that point I had something that I knew could win me the game. That character I didn't have it, and I already, the writing was on the wall before we even initiated the fight. Spyro was fun. I think Spyro is a fun, calming, chill, comfy game. I don't think there's anything super special about it, at least not the first one. Maybe 2 and 3 have more to it, but I'm gonna boom blocks that. Mismo, boom blocks tier is between thought it was okay and pretty good. As you can. Alex matches Spyro's color. Some of these games are here for completely different reasons. Boom blocks is here just because there isn't really anything like blatantly bad about it, but it's also not that exciting or great. Broforce was pretty fun, but it's just not something that would like I would want to keep playing for hours. Cave Story I liked a lot, but then just had things about it as the game went on that was really annoying. Like everything is here for a different reason. This is like the odd bunch of the games. Gobble said, I played the OG Spyro game not that long ago, gave me motion sickness, but I still finished it. Oh yeah. It was fun. The bosses were kind of disappointing. They don't even really feel like bosses. Kind of weird. Oh, Darkness. That game was interesting. Mike Patton voices the Darkness, which is a bonus. The singer for Faith No More and Mr. Bungle. Didn't like love it, but you know, once again, I tend to not be super into like FPS games. But it had different elements to it. The psych ward stuff was interesting. I like games that like do like mental or like psychology, like psychological horror type stuff. I would put that in probably. Put it in epic tier for Faith No More. I played the. Oh, sorry, I read that. The Dirty Dozen. Exactly. Is there 12 in there? Oh, wow. Oh, Oregon Trail. Oregon Trail was fun. Sure, it took a lot longer than Oregon Trail would have. Oregon Trail is just better Oregon Trail. Like, they just add more stuff to it. You gotta walk around and shoot sometimes. You can add your friends' names to the game so they could turn into zombies. You know, it's not exceptional, but it's pretty cool for what it is. Okay, we're just down to a couple more. Rogue Legacy. Oh gosh. What? I think we know it's hard for me to really get into most roguelikes. Man, Rogue Legacy is like another game where if I needed to waste a lot of time, like on a long plane ride, maybe I wouldn't have minded as much. But it feels like a game that has a certain amount of content that's been stretched to like 3 times that much content because of how long it, like, just the way that like when you upgrade one stat, every other stat gets more expensive to upgrade. I don't care for that. I don't think that makes sense. I think they only did that to hinder the player's progress and not in a way that was like they're gonna like get too strong too fast. I don't know. It just was weird. It also gets kind of, it's pretty small. I know it's one of the first roguelikes. It's kind of the first one to really pioneer like the roguelike formula, but it's a much smaller game. There's you see all the enemies pretty soon into it, I feel like. I don't like that you can't get stronger from fighting bosses because you never get money when you're fighting bosses, and then you can't use money to upgrade. It's not like other games where the act of fighting the boss might slowly work you towards something at least, so you don't feel like you're just hitting your head against the wall. Because this is a game where if you're not ready for a boss, you're probably just not going to be able to beat it, and you're just going to waste however much time trying to fight it like I did. And I know that's my fault, and I should just go grind, but I don't like grinding. I don't like when games make you grind. And this game makes you grind. Really, that's what it comes down to. I gotta drop it here. The newfangled version of Oregon Trail looks pretty neat. Oh, I forgot they made a new one. The modern roguelike formula. Yeah. Right, that's what I meant. The modern roguelike. And we're down to the last one, which is X-Men for Super Nintendo. Childhood game of mine. I was a little disappointed playing this. It just didn't feel that good. It was a very mediocre beat 'em up with a very strict live system that if I wasn't using save states, it would have gotten really, really annoying. The game was longer than I expected, which I guess is kind of a good thing, but at the same time, it just should have played better. The fact you get to play as multiple X-Men is at least a bonus, but I gotta put this down to just... Man, I almost want to drop this farther even. Let me think on this for a second. In fact, do you remember like any of my specific thoughts on the X-Men game? I just remember like it just was mediocre to begin with, and then it had some problems on top of it. They shouldn't have given you limited lives, that's for sure. Evil pickups. Oh, that's right. The only chance you can get at like... You have to get 3 secretly hidden collectibles in a level that's put in dangerous places just to get 1 life. In a game where lives are like, you get 2 lives and then you die and then you lose that X-Men, or you have to start the game over or whatever. I gotta drop it down. It just isn't a good game. It just isn't. not to say that everything here isn't a good game, but like this I just have to put here. It wasn't like pulling my hair out, but it was like, yeah. Oh, that's it. Okay, well we hit the the end of the list. This is my full list of this is it. These are the games I played in 2022. Okay, if Yoshi's off screen because it doesn't deserve to exist. Yeah, the pixel art was good in the X-Men game. That's true. You know what? This is pretty even, isn't it? This is pretty. Look at like, dude, like this is like. In fact, it even leans towards positive. I always feel like I'm being too hard on games. I feel like I'm afraid that I'm complaining too much, that I'm criticizing things, and people are like, man, Jay doesn't like any games, does he? But I mean, looking at this chart, I don't think it's I don't think it's so much that I don't like games. It's just like a reviewer brain, right? I think of ways that games could be improved, in my opinion, or things that disappoint me. I try to point out things I do like in games I don't like too. Like the 80s Power Ballad. Or well, these ones are kind of hard because they're pretty low down here, but it's hard for me to get a game that I love. It's hard for me to really get into a game. But I'm interested. So we have the link for this tier list. Oh wait, I have new tiers. I'm gonna have to save this and make a new tier. Okay, I'm gonna save this tier with the new tiers. Or you guys could just Fact put this together. So he has the tier list of the link to this. It won't have these. It'll just say like A, B, C, D. Is Boom Blocks rated higher than Elden Ring? No, they're on the same level. I'm not gonna elaborate on what games are better than each other than just because it's gonna. I have to let that go. There definitely are games within the same category where I like one more than the other, but there's also different reasons to like different games. And sometimes you feel like playing one game. I might really like Limbo more than Slay the Spire. I might even like Metroid more than Slay the Spire, but I would replay Slay the Spire more than Metroid. You know, there's like different reasons for each other. I would say Boom Blocks and Elden Ring are exactly evenly matched, just for completely different reasons. Entirely different reasons. Their scorecards are mirrored images of each other. If that makes any sense. But anyway, I'm interested to see what everyone thinks about these, would rate the games that I've played this year themselves. Go ahead and make a tier for haven't played or don't know, for games you haven't played. And I'm going to post this in the Discord. And yeah, I'm interested to see what you guys think. So I know it's New Year's for a couple. Happy New Year's to anyone in the next timeline the next timeline over, the next time zone over, who it just became New Year's for. My New Year's is in about 2 hours. And I have a review coming up, by the way. Hopefully my voice will be alive. My voice does feel better already since I calmed down. Yeah, I think it just turned Happy New Year's for Bananas. So, Happy New Year's. Alright, so I'm going to wrap up now. Thanks, everyone. I really appreciate you all for coming, as always. I hope we have a great new year. I'm going to try to do lots of stuff. Hope you all have a great night and a great new year. I hope you have a great 2023. How about that? Oh man, I got to do the Patreon poll for tomorrow. I just remembered that. Okay. You guys have a great night. Catch you later. Peace out.